What about now? No, can't see anything?
Still can only see me. I'm gonna blame T-Mobile. We'll be all right. I know what you look like.
Okay. Well,
As
can
long as everyone else can see you.
can you guys see us both? Okay. Cool. Well, I can see you. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know.
No, no, let's like again. Between I bet are you on an iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well see, we'll just blame that then.
Is that what it is?
In my head anyway.
All
Um,
right. Yeah, they're saying they can see us. So
yeah, that's
what's up,
the main
everybody?
thing. As long as they can see us. We'll just give a
Yeah.
couple more minutes. I know there's a few more people that are gonna jump in and we're pretty close to being we're 2 minutes over, so we'll give it like 2 more minutes and then get after it.
Yeah, it's all good. How's your day?
Oh man, great,
Yeah.
great, great, great. Yeah, my buddy Christopher Bean took me to a really great networking event opportunity and had a great time there and
That's
learned some really great things. So yeah, good day.
dope. Dope. I was watching Rippon's film. She sent me a couple links, so I hadn't seen any of them. I've only seen Flight 182, so
But
she is dope.
that's
I
a
know we're
good
probably
place
going
to
to talk about
start.
Rippon at some point. What's up?
That's a good place to start at Flight 182.
Yeah, well, I had seen that, but that was the only one that I had seen. So I was watching her other films today, and I'm all inspired, ready to go.
Well, dope. Listen, let's just jump into it now, and we'll let people jump in as they want, and it's being recorded, so people can see it a little bit later if they want to.
Cool.
So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's already in here, and I appreciate y'all taking time out on a school night to come and listen to Emil and I talk about art and life and the art, the business, the show business, and all those good things. So, first and foremost, I'll just stop and let Emil introduce himself and tell us a little bit about you, where you're from. Tell us about some of the stuff you've worked on and what you're working on, and just give us a general feel of who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Emil, writer director, born and raised in LA. Lived in the Bay, specifically Oakland, for almost 10 years. So love all my love to the Bay too. But yeah, I tend to make dramatic, intense, realistic, gritty, social commentary films that usually center specifically children of color. I always try to advocate for them. So yeah, that's where I'm from, what I do, and I'm currently working on a feature that's kind of a follow up to one of my shorts called 1, 2, 3, All Eyes on Me.
Ooh, yeah. Listen, we definitely gonna get to that. I'm saving that for a little bit later on in the conversation.
Okay.
Anyone who's seen any of my little advertisements I put out this week knows that anyone on my Instagram knows how I feel about Pac. But we'll get into that later on. We'll save the
Yeah.
good stuff a little bit later, or some of that stuff for later on. But to start with, let's talk about seeds, man. I posted it
Yeah.
this week. A couple of people have asked or have commented on it. Super great work, and so tell me about that collaboration and how it came together. And let's start there.
Yeah, so seeds is funny because I feel like, you know, there's always like with everything you do, there's a few people who it really resonates with. And like, I feel like seeds really resonated with you. And I love that. And I love you for bringing it back up because we did that like several years ago now. But yeah, it came about, it was before um, the first time that Trump ran. And I just felt really compelled to try to do something to sway the election in the other direction. And so there was this site where it had like all these different artists of all kinds of genres
Hmm.
that had songs that they were willing to contribute to this movement. And, you know, you could go on there and pick a song and make something based on that song. And so I found Reese Palmer's song Seeds and didn't know her. Um, and it was different than what I was originally thinking, but I listened to the song like 20 times and I just started seeing these images and there's like a lot going on politically at the time. And I'm like, I think this song would fit with like the content I want to make anyway. So I don't have really much of a background in music videos. It's not really my thing, but I put together this treatment. I hit her up. She loved it. And I was like, okay, Reese, well, the only problem is we have no money. So we're like, how are we gonna do this? And you know, we ended up shooting it on my camera on like a A7 III, and shout out to Ed. Ed shot it. But yeah, it was just like scrappy. I mean, she lives in North Carolina. She flew out, and we just kind of put it together the best that we could. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely a fun thing to be part of. Learned a lot on it, and yeah, I mean, we were successful in that election. But yeah.
Man, listen, that thing, I mean, that thing is powerful. You're a powerful storyteller in general, man. Because when the family's sitting under the tree, I mean, as you can see, I'm clearly a believer myself, and follow those and follow, follow Christ and those types of things. But I think it is striking the amount of disconnect between Christians and it's following the values we tend to espouse.
Yeah.
So pointing that out in such a powerful way with the scene with the family under the tree is pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was a music video, so we wanted to try to do something not as like literal and make it a little bit like dreamlike, poetic, a little bit abstract, like it could take place anywhere. Um, and also really like not shy away from these issues and fit them within the time that we had, like the length of the song. So yeah. But yeah, and it's funny, like the reaction, you make whatever you believe in and you put it out into the world, and you don't really know how people are going to respond to it. And so Reese has it on her YouTube channel. That's the primary place that it lives. And we have like mixed reactions, and I don't mind that. I don't mind people getting offended. I don't mind people, to me it means it struck a chord, and we said something, and it hit you in a way that like provoked an emotion, and whether you agree or not, that's up to you. But we made what we believed in, so I stand by it.
Nice. Listen, we're going to get into that a little bit later on down the road too, because I definitely have some thoughts that brings up when I just think about you and the kind of work that you do. From a technical standpoint, me just being a film
Yeah,
geek and a story and a camera geek myself, there's a shot when I think when the police officer's performing CPR on the kid on the road,
yeah.
where the sun kind of just shines beams between them. Is that a really powerful light out in the distance, or did you actually time it up to use the sun?
No, no, like I said, we had zero budgets. All of our light is from the sun. So we just, we obviously, like at our DP, we had talked about, he busted out the sun app. I forget what it's called, but where you can see the pattern of the sun throughout the day. And so we knew what time the sun would be setting and which direction we needed to face. So it was 100% intentional, but that is the sun, not a light.
Love that. My old DP Will Novi used to always say that, or I think it was Will. He used to say that God's the best gaffer. Like
Yep,
that he has is super powerful. That 50 billion K light.
yep, yep. It's good for a budget too. So
Hey, and then the only other question I'll ask, and then we can keep moving, is on the lock when they're opening the gate with the little girl
yeah,
inside. Is there something to that code, or is it just a random series of numbers?
yeah. So the idea was, if you notice, the numbers 1106 are throughout, so that's also the code on the lock. It's
Mm.
the number that's embroidered on the female cop's uniform. There's a couple other places too, but that was the date to vote, November 6th.
Yo, that's so
So
crazy because.
like the idea is basically by voting on 1106, you're unlocking this kid, and you're saving this other kid's life, and like you're helping all these communities that are affected by voting on 1106. That was the idea.
Oh man, listen, you did that. No, I noticed the lock, and I was like, I think that probably is a Easter egg. But now that you're saying that, I remember the numbers on the female cop's uniform. Man, which brings me to the point of like doing this whole series that I've started doing was someone called me out and told me that I needed to spend more time in front of the camera and be more socially engaged in my artistic creative stuff, and so. I figured I'd kind of cheat that commitment I made by doing something I'm passionate about, and I'm super passionate about film. I'm super passionate about storytelling.
Yeah,
So I was like, how can I marry all these things? And so
yeah.
that's why I came up with this Challenger series.
Was
And when
dope.
I did it, one of the first people I thought of, bro, was you because, like, end of the day, like, there are very few filmmakers out there that I feel like we're cut from essentially the same creative cloth. Like, as far as telling impactful stories that are about the society we live in and not being afraid to dive into the darkest,
Yeah,
deepest, nastiest crevices of life and
yeah.
expose them. Tell me a little bit about that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I feel like, if we shy away from things, how do they change?
Yeah, yeah.
So I feel like, not everybody's job. I mean, personally, I don't even want to watch stuff that's dark and heavy constantly. But I feel like my kind of role is to shed light on these really uncomfortable things in a really honest, unflinching way.
Mm.
And it's through that that you develop an understanding and empathy. And, maybe you go into a story never having been in the situation. And then for the duration of it, I put you in this character's shoes. And now you're just kind of living as them. And we're not having a debate. We're not discussing politics or beliefs or whatever. You're just in their shoes as they are, experiencing what they are. And you have the information that they do. And so I feel like that approach creates a lot of empathy. And yeah, and I try to use that to give a voice to people that don't have it. And so a lot of times that is people that are, suffering, people that are disadvantaged, people that are being discriminated against. And so the topics get real dark real quick. But like I said, if you can't face something, it's never going to change. If we won't talk about it, if we won't get into the guts of it, it's not going to get any better. We're going to pretend it doesn't exist. So I try to take the opposite approach. And that also, with that said, I try to be really mindful of not being exploitative and exploiting the trauma of others, because I definitely think that there is a line, and you can tell these stories in a really raw, authentic way without being exploitative and disrespectful to the people that are suffering or have suffered.
That hey, that is super facts, and I feel like that goes for everything. I mean, even romance and comedy can cross a line of being exploitative, or what I like to call it hipster porn, right? Like
Yeah.
just kind of these put on airs of trying to pretend to be super cool or whatever else have you. But speaking of your artistic style, and I think I saw someone already bring it up in the chat here, you have a you have a short film that is streaming live as we speak on almost the gold standard of television programming on HBO. Man, talk a little bit about your short that's on there, and I'll let you talk about the title and everything because I'll get all geeky and Tupac-y on it. So tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so the film, as you said, is streaming right now on HBO Max. It's called 123, All Eyes on Me. If you search alphabetically, it comes up first. So we got
Yeah,
lucky with that. But yeah, that actually, I've never really talked about this, but 123 came out of Seeds, because as I was writing Seeds, I wanted to do this moment or this scene related to school shootings. And as we were working on the script and kind of timing everything out, it just didn't fit. And I felt like we were gonna like not give the full time and screen time to the other topics that we were hitting on. And
yeah,
so I decided like, okay, that I'll touch that next. That'll be the next thing I do. And so that 123 was kind of born there. And 123 is a 15-minute film about a crisis that hits an elementary school from the teacher's perspective. And we shot it in Oakland. All of the cast and the crew were from the Bay, with the one exception of Pharrell, who plays our teacher, Miss Lena, and she flew up from LA to come work with us. But yeah, it was, I was making films in the Bay with, and we weren't even, I'll just speak for myself. I wasn't thinking about any kind of awards or festivals. I didn't know anything at that point. It was the first film I made after film school. And
wow,
like we've been talking about, it was just the story that I wanted to tell in the way that I wanted to tell it. And I remember getting notes on the script, and the script is very similar to the film that we ended up making. But I was getting comments from people like, "Who's gonna want to watch this? Like, this is horrible. Like, this is the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. No one is gonna want to watch this, and no one is gonna want to program this." And I took it to heart. It wasn't that I was disregarding what they were saying, but I was like, yeah, I hear you, and this is what I want to make. And
right.
so we made it, and then started submitting to festivals, and it got rejected from the first 11 festivals in a row. And I remember over like 3 months or 4 months or something, it was just no, 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 11 times. And I remember thinking like, damn, they were right. And but I was really proud of what we made. But I'm like, yeah, I guess it's too much for people. And like, I understand that it's a really intense film. And then I don't know, something changed. It got into Pasadena, then Cleveland, San Diego Latino Film Festival, and it just started going from there. And then it was the opposite. It just like snowballed all the way until the Oscars. So, and then HBO, and then I also got on HBO where it's been since. So, yeah, so that's my inspirational story of the evening for anyone that's gotten rejected a million times. So have I.
Well, sheesh, that is a hell of a roller coaster you were on, man. That's crazy. I couldn't imagine that roller, especially considering how good we all know it is. Like the first time I saw it, I know I was absolutely blown away. And now that I just learned in this moment that it was your first film out of film school, like that's even another level. How were you able to make it? Was it in association with any kind of grants? Did you cloud fund, or how did you go about getting it made, getting it put on screen?
So I'm gonna keep it super real. So I funded it myself, and that is because when I was in the Bay, I used to work in tech, and I was an early employee at a startup, and the startup that I worked for got acquired, and so we made some good money, and I took that money and I put it into 123, and I put it into my last short, and now I'm out of money. But yeah, I was just like, yes, I could try to, get grants, and I could try to get money from other people, but I was like, I need to make this now. Like kids are dying, and I don't. Every time it happens, I don't know what to do, and I feel so fucked up about these situations. I feel so powerless, and I know I could bring empathy to these situations. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put up the money and make this. So I put up 100% of the money out of the money that I got when my old company Hello Sign got acquired, and yeah, so there was.
What was that bridge to getting it from all those no's? What was the bridge that got it on HBO eventually?
So it at the time there was a festival called the Official Latino Film Festival that is now the Envision Film Festival, and Danny Hastings, the founder of the festival, had a partnership with HBO. His whole thing was like, all these festivals do X, Y, and Z, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a deal with HBO to
Yeah,
get people from my festival on their platform, because that's how we blow up as a community. And so he had a deal with them where every year they would select 3 films that played at Official Latino, and they would get a license to be on HBO. So 123 won the festival that year, and then HBO picked it as one of the 3 that went onto their platform.
oh wow. Wow. I mean, I imagine it had to have been successful there because again, everyone I've shared the link with and the people who have seen it that I know of everybody's been blown away, man. Really, that's really, really solid work right there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's honestly, it's kind of crazy. So it's gone viral 4 times on TikTok
Okay.
and once on Twitter. And right now, Max is running Facebook ads advertising it.
Oh
But
wow.
what's crazy to me is like we put it out in 2020, and here we are 5 years later, and it feels like twice a year it goes viral somewhere,
Yeah.
and it just kind of blows up all over again. And it's very, like I said, we shot it in Oakland, just trying to tell the story that we believed in, and to see people organically like really resonate with it and share it and talk about it and all of that, and it just spreads like wildfire. And I think it's been seen about 50 million times at this point, which is insane.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's literally like what I thought would happen at the end of my career. Like I would make a film that really resonated with people and shed light on this really difficult thing, and it would kind of spread all over the world. It's like what I dreamed of, and it happened on my first film. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
That is an absolute dream come true, which then obviously is, I mean, which is a great bridge to kind of the next question I have. I know for myself, there have been times in my career where I've been fortunate to get really great opportunities, and one of my first opportunities ever was shooting a spot with LeBron James, like
Okay.
way
Oh,
in my career, and I was sure as soon as I'd done that, I had made it. I was like, I made it. Like I'm gonna get home. There's gonna be managers knocking on my door. I'm gonna be
yeah.
so it's a
Yep.
television. I've made it. I'm here. And clearly, and clearly that's not the case. So I'm wondering, in your journey where you're at right now, have you ever felt like there was a moment in your journey where you're like, oh, this is it. I've made it, and things are going to be sweet, or just talk to me a little bit about that journey and where you're at now and those kinds of things.
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna keep it super real. So um, I make this film 1, 2, 3. Like I said, first film after film school, and it blows up. Right, literally gets to the Oscars. And at the time, I'm like, I think I'm God's gift. Right, I'm like, I could do no wrong. I killed it out the gate. Like I just like, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. Like I'm not meant to be an accountant. I'm not meant to work construction. Like whatever. Like this is my thing. I'm really not good at that many other things, but this is my thing. And I had so much success immediately
Mhm.
that I think it took me a while to be like, hold on, like you are not the exception. This is a really difficult industry for 100% of us. We're all gonna go through our trials and tribulations, and I needed that. I needed, and it wasn't that I thought I could do no wrong. I just thought like this is what I'm meant to do. So there's not going to be that resistance there. And then it's pretty much been resistance since. And I mean, yes, like COVID, strikes, fires, you name it, right? Like that's added to it. But you know, I didn't have that feature ready to go, and so I'm going on all these generals, having a million meetings, and they're all like, "So what do you have next?" And I'm like, "I put everything into the short, like I don't." And they're like, "Cool, well hit us up when you do." And then by the time I come back, they don't work there, they've been laid off, whatever, they changed companies, like, so it's been a struggle kind of since. So and even though I said 1, 2, 3's gotten 50 million views, literally like close to zero new followers, like no
Mhm.
money, like HBO pays you a flat fee.
Mhm.
I had not seen a dollar or even a statistic from them. So, it's not like my life changed or anything like that, but definitely like I had accomplished what I wanted to. But in terms of like making it or balling out or any of that, like that hasn't happened.
That, that's incredible. I mean, incredible in a like wow kind of way. I think specifically for people who might not be a part of like what we do, right? Because for me, I'm just like, could you just touch a little bit even on that disconnect of like what is that? What emotionally, what does that do to someone to be like, I've done the thing, I did the work, and then this jerk off is making Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer Part Four,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
how hard is that to square in your brain?
It, it's difficult. I mean, I just came out of years of depression recently because I went from like, having a job and benefits and direct deposit and doing really well at my job to like walking away from that job to make films. And like the next year after I left my job, I made $11,000 in the year. Like
Yeah,
I could barely feed myself. So, and there's like no stability, there's nothing guaranteed, no one is waiting on you to like put your next thing out. Like if you just kind of decide this industry is too tough, you just fade away. And
yeah,
so like going from like some stability, and it was the first time in my life I had that. I have a high school education, so to like make it and have a good salary and have a prestigious job and do really well, to then have nothing guaranteed, and it's all this rejection and all these gatekeepers and notes, like I remember, I'll leave the name out, but I'm in this pitch meeting with a production company. They're all white men, and I'm making a story about oppression, and I explain that to them. At the core, this film is about oppression, and they literally tell me like, okay, well, where are all the white male characters? We need more of those if we're gonna get this thing funded.
wow,
And I'm like, hold up, you like remember how I said it's about oppression, like, and so it's just like that. Hearing stuff like that, it gets to you, and you start to feel like, is this possible? Like, am I a one hit wonder? Like, where do I fit into this industry? How am I gonna pay rent? Every
yeah,
30 days.
yeah.
How does that happen?
Clockwork.
So yeah, yeah,
Which then brings me to there's a couple of recurring themes I've found in the handful of these things that I've done, and one is that my good friend Elliot sent me a meme the other day that said, "One day I'm paraphrasing. It said, "One day I feel like I'm on top of the world and God's gift to film, and the next day I'm considering filling out an application at Best Buy."
yep. That's it.
Like, what's that?
That's it. That's it. That's it right there.
Do you think that do you think it would be easy because you have a disruptor spirit about you, and then everything I've ever seen you make is based in disruption and what would be coined disruption, but really reflected, shine a mirror. Do you think it would be easier if you made stereotypical movies?
Um, I mean, I guess it depends in what sense you mean easier. Because, like, for me, that internally that would be so much harder. So, like, yeah, maybe easier in terms of the way it's received, but I just feel like it would be so inauthentic, and I would be so like I'm a very like if I'm into it, I'm into it. Like we're gonna do this thing, and then if I'm not, like it's very hard for me to fake interest in something. So that's kind of my bar before I really dive into any project is like if I died and this didn't get made, would I be okay with that? And if the answer is no, then I'm like, I'm gonna make this thing regardless. And if the answer is yes, then I'm like, cool, I need to find the next project. So yeah, I mean my manager told me a while back, like I make difficult stories and it's gonna be a difficult road because not everybody's gonna be on board. There's going to be people that get offended, don't agree, and that's fine. I mean, there's space for all of our opinions, and I like that. I mean, I like things that create conversation and like let's talk about it. Like I say, we don't have to agree, but let's talk about it. So, I accept that.
That's dope. That's dope. Real quick, I just want to point out the wonderful and lovely Florence Parks. Just wanted to know what film school did you go to?
I went to San Francisco Film School, so not to be confused with San Francisco State. It's a small school
Yeah,
called San Francisco Film School. There was literally me and my classmate T. We're the two that graduated out of our class, out of like 12.
got you. Champ is asking, how do you feel about balance? As in, this is just for money. They don't all have to be my full artistry. Like, how do you feel about taking gigs that aren't completely in line with your artistic sensibilities to pay bills?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, reality is reality. Rent is due, like I say, every 30 days. So, got to pay that somehow. You know, you and I met in CDDP,
Right.
which is a commercial directing program. So, my personal thing is just like as long as I'm not morally opposed, I very much believe that there are some companies that I'm just not aligned with what they do, and I'm not going to help them do it. And so I would turn that down, but that's not 100% of companies. So I would definitely direct commercials. And there's other things I would do directing wise for money. I also started a business renting like production supplies to make money on the side while I'm writing and directing. So, you know, you got to pay the bills. But yeah, my thing is just like as long as I'm not morally opposed, ethically opposed to what they're doing, then yeah, I'm down.
Awesome. So a question I've asked a couple other people also that I'd be interested to get your perspective on. Do you think that our industry is merit based? Do you think that the people who get to make movies are the best people to make the people who get to make movies continuously are the best people making movies, or do you think that there are other impediments?
I think it's I think it's complicated, and I think it'd be easy for us, you know, still on our way up to say like, no, it's all who you know. I think it's both. I think it's highly who you know, but that gives you an opportunity. But if you time and time again make stuff that does not resonate with audiences, it's going to be hard for people to continue to put money into you. So I think who you know really helps give you an opportunity. But then once you have that opportunity, you have to have the skill to back it up eventually. Maybe not your first time or even second time, but so I think it's a mix. I think I think if you make stuff that resonates, they're gonna find you because it's a business. You know, it's a business. If you make stuff that consumers want, they're gonna put money because they want to make money with you. So I do think there is an element of that. But yeah, I mean, there's been a ton of opportunities that I haven't gotten because I don't have the connections yet. You know, so I think that it's definitely a part of this game for sure.
Gotcha. Speaking of which, there's something in there that just reminded me. I was texting with a friend of mine earlier today who's a pretty successful writer in Hollywood, and he wanted, or at least he told me. I don't know if he wanted me to tell you, but he told me that he was really impressed by your by 1, 2, 3, and thought it was super powerful and moving. I don't know how it just popped in my head to remember to tell you that. I wanted to let you know that for your point, they're watching. The people are watching and noticing. So that's really cool.
Well, please tell them I said thank you.
Absolutely. So if we could put on our imaginary hat, being creatives and all, money's no object. There's nothing standing between you and the thing. What movie are you making tomorrow?
Man, well, there's so many movies, but I would really love to like make like a. I know there's a film called Civil War, and okay, I love Ex Machina, one of my favorite films,
Mhm.
but like I wanted to make a Civil War film, like a modern day Civil War film with like the current political situation for the longest time. And obviously that's like a big budget. Like we're gonna have riot scenes and all tanks and all kinds of stuff, right? Um, and yeah, and then I saw Civil War, and I don't know if you feel like this, but sometimes when you really want to make something, and then there's a film that comes out that's like close to the topic at least, and
Yeah.
it's not what you wanted to make, it's like damn, like it just makes me feel like all right, I got to do my version, and that's kind of how I felt with 1, 2, 3. Like people told me, oh, there's all these movies on this topic already, but like yeah, I would want to answer your question. I would want to make something that gets into our current political situation and show how it plays out and show all the different dynamics and do it in a very grounded, like, you know, on the ground with families, with people, and show how, the struggle and how everything unfolds.
Yes. No, that's incredible. I mean, listen, I'd pay to see that movie. I think movies are kind of like people, right? Like you can say, oh, there's already 10,000 men in there, but there's only one of you, and there's only one of you and one of you, and every one of those people. Like, why do we decide who's our friend and who's not our friend, and things like that? Going viral, social media open, any new content creation. So Gurinder is asking, did going viral and the power of social media open any new content creation doors for you?
Not yet, no. Um, the feature that I got hired to write already had happened prior to that happening, going viral a few times. So, no, not yet. That's like, so like on TikTok, where it's gotten the majority of those millions of views, people will steal the film and then they upload it, and sometimes they don't put the title of the film. They definitely don't put me. They don't put Pharrell or much less credit the crew or anything. It's just like here's the clip, and it gets a lot of traction, and so people keep doing it to post content on their accounts that does well. But no, they rarely credit any of us, so it has not led to followers, much less money or opportunities or anything like that. So it's kind of and HBO owns the rights, so I just kind of stay out of it. And I feel very, very thankful that like it's been received like that, and all the people are genuinely like interacting with it, and it's spreading that way. But no, it hasn't led to any kind of new opportunity yet.
Listen, I'm for one, I'm excited that you keep using the word yet because like your talent is undeniable, dude. Like, and I'm like I said, I'm super biased because again, just the way your brain works and the things that you find important to put on film are some of my favorite things to put on film, also. So I'm super biased, but I think you are like so gangster at it.
Thank you, man. Well, you too. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Rippin
What's
asks.
up, Ripon?
You have such a strong ability to maintain tension in your work. Can you talk about your approach to building those tension beats you've mastered? You're a master. I apologize. Public school.
Well, damn. Thank you. No, I think it comes down to information. Like, what does the audience know and when do they know it and what do you keep from them? And so I
Mm,
think like the more you can kind of keep from them, like give them enough to know that there's some kind of threat to something that they care about, but then hide the threat from them. I'm not super into horror films, but if we know there's a monster outside who's like hunting us, but we don't know where that monster is, and then maybe some of the characters don't know, they're not even aware, but the audience is, like, it's naturally like the tension is just gonna like build and build and build. So I really just like to play with like how much information does the audience know? Do the characters know? At what pace? Do we give them misinformation? So now they're, instead of running from the monster, they're actually running towards the monster. So I think a lot of it is around that.
Got you. What's the biggest misconception that the average person has about directing?
That it's telling people what to do.
Mm,
Like I think you hear the word direct and like I'm gonna give you directions, but I actually feel like it's more about creating a safe space and asking a lot of questions and like pulling things from people through questions, and like each of us has our own life experience and our own talents, our own skills. So I feel like a director's job is really to get the best performance from everybody, not just the cast, but the crew too. And so it's like, well, how do you think we should do this? Why do you think your character does X, Y, and Z in the scene? Does this feel authentic to you? What do you think your character would do in this situation? Why are you so upset? What's another way we could like this? What's a different way we could shoot this? Like, I think it's like trying to get all the talent from all the amazing specialists that we're surrounded by,
mm.
and it's not telling someone, hey, like I've literally heard people, we won't name names, but give notes like, on this line I want you to like cry. It's like, what? That's not that's not playable, it's not helpful, you're not going to get a great performance. So in that, it would be more like, why is your character so upset? What is it that's so painful in this moment? And like, let's talk about it. So I think it's less about telling and more about involving and inspiring.
That's what, as a result of that, what's one of the, can you tell us about a happy accident that's happened as like you've had a conversation, you've given some feedback, you've had this back and forth dialogue, and then on screen, can you tell us about a time where that changed into a happy accident or something that really excited you?
Yeah, so the end of 1, 2, 3, we shot what was written, and then Pharrell and I had already kind of developed a friendship and trust for each other at that point. That was the second to last day. And then she kind of pulls me aside and she's like, like I'm feeling something else. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, could we go again? And I'm like, yeah. And at that point, we had already wrapped all the kids. So the end, she's actually in that room by herself.
Mm.
But I said, okay. And I tell Caroline, our DP, like, we're just going to roll. Like, don't cut. We're going to roll and we're just going to see what happens. And so we did it again, and we did Pharrell's version of what she was really feeling. And she kind of ad libbed her lines. And that's the ending of the film.
Oh, I love that. I love
And
that.
it's
I once made a movie a while ago, and one of the actors changed the lines in his audition and improv some lines in the audition. And when I told him he got the job, I told him, congratulations, man, you got the role. It's awesome. The good news is you got it. The bad news is I'm going to take all the credit for the line that you wrote. I'm going to put it in the movie.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I love telling that story because it came from her, and it came from, like I said, the relationship we built, the trust that we had, her dedication to the film and understanding of her character and what we were going for. So that, to me, that's what's most exciting about making films. I talked about how it was difficult and all the trials and tribulations, but to me, the it's like the most amazing thing in the world because you get together with all these people and you're bringing something to life that like existed in your head and then existed like on a PDF or a piece of paper or whatever, and then
Yeah.
you're making it, all these people come together to like make ideas tangible and real, and when you're in sync and you're working together, it's like magical. I don't know.
Mm. No, that's exactly what it feels like, man. I'm curious of the people that are left watching. Can we just, I don't know how to do this exactly, but how can I tell how many of you watched Seeds or 1, 2, 3? I'm just curious how many people followed the links and saw the projects. A few hearts go off. Okay. Um, Oh, that's cool. Does anyone in our chat have any questions? Because we're kind of getting towards the end here, so I'd love to have Emil answer any additional questions anyone might have. Would be great. In the meanwhile, while I'm waiting for some questions, Emil, Pet said she watched Seeds and watched both. Okay, cool. Um, Tell me about cameras. What do you have a go to? You said you used the A13, A3. I'm just showing my ignorance. The Sony A3 on feeds. What cameras have you worked with, and what cameras excite you? Which cameras do you want to work with?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So to me, it's like it's not. It's whatever fits the situation. Like, sure, like give me like a RE for sure.
Mhm.
But I don't know. To me, it's more about like what do we need to like move. Like, okay, in 1, 2, 3, with Caroline, our DP, I was like, can we like this in a way? So we have 28-year-olds, like 20 kids, not 28-year-olds, but like 20 kids, right? And I was like, can we like this in a way where we have maximum mobility and flexibility to move around the room? And the whole thing is on the easy rig. We shot that on a red. Um, but it's that. And she's like, yes, we can. It's not going to be as beautiful though. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, that's fine. Like, I want it to look good, obviously, but I want more than the camera, more than the lights, more than the beauty. I want flexibility to capture real moments.
Mhm.
And once we get that classroom full of 20 kids in the right emotional state, I want to be able to roll. And so
Mhm.
literally we would shoot a little piece and then I would yell to the class, freeze. And it would freeze and it would reposition the camera and I'm like, unfreeze. And then they would keep going. And so like more than a camera, more than lighting, I just really want to capture authentic moments. And so
Yeah.
if there's a camera that's smaller, more is lighter weight, less like
Mhm.
obvious, and like that, I'll sacrifice some resolution, some beauty if needed, to get something that feels real. So
Love that.
that's my actual answer.
Love that. That's pretty incredible. Before a friend of mine, VJ, just had to jump off, but he pointed out before he left, he was super impressed in your ability to use so many child actors and have such a great story and such well acted. So that's pretty cool that you pointed that out, and that makes sense now that you've pointed to that. A couple of people in the comments have asked questions about AI. So I guess if you could just talk a little bit about using AI and have you used it in your workflow, how you feel about it, as far as maybe effects or even are you going to integrate it in your future?
Yeah, so I guess I'm in a little bit of a different position because I went from like film to tech back to film.
Yeah.
So I was a product manager. So my job used to be to create tech products. So I understand that. At the same time, I understand all the harm that tech causes, specifically to people's jobs. And I feel like in tech, people get paid so well because so many other people are getting put out of work. And so
Mhm.
that makes it really profitable for that company to lay off a good portion of their workforce. And then, yeah, they'll pay for the product, the tech product that makes that possible. And I think that AI is the epitome of that. Um, I was recently at an AI conference in the Bay in San Francisco, and a big VC was talking about how he thinks AI is going to replace 80% of jobs. And he said it pretty nonchalantly and pissed me off, quite frankly. I think that's really fucked up. Because what happens to 80% of society when we suddenly simultaneously don't have jobs? So, yeah. And at the same time, I think that AI is here. I think if you don't keep up with it, you're going to get left behind. And whether we like it or not, just like what happened with smartphones, they just start getting pushed on us. And like my mom, who's, older, she's like, I don't know how to use this thing, but she goes to the doctor and they're like, well, check the app, check that, goes here, goes there, check the app, check that. And like you get forced into adopting these things. And I think that AI is one of those things, and we kind of don't have a way around it. So, as just people that are competing and trying to keep up and produce work with the budgets and the timelines that we're given, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, like getting used to using AI to supplement what you do is crucial. So, I have used it a little bit so far, like, but I think there's also a misconception with AI that it's just going to be kind of generic and spit out what it spits out. But with a
Mhm.
lot of things, you can train it. So, like with Claude, for example, you could create projects and you can upload all the stuff that you want it to reference that's proprietary to
Mhm.
you and then have it check against those things. So, if I'm like, here's the structure that I believe in, can you check the script against my structure?
Mhm.
And then, yeah, it does that like no other. I mean, it's instant, it's super detailed. So I use it in that way. I use it to double check my stuff against my own standards.
Gotcha. Oh man, listen, that's a whole other TED talk at this point. That stuff is like you said, it's coming whether we like it or not. It's yeah, mind-boggling to even think about. Trav on here asked, "What's next for you? What is Emil's? What's next on your list?"
Yeah, thanks for the question. Um, so I'm currently working on a feature called warning signs. So the idea with 1, 2, 3 is we kind of bring you into one of these situations. It's super intense. We give you this like in-depth emotional understanding.
Mhm.
And then it's like, okay, so people, understand, adults understand what it would be like to be in a situation like this, but then what? And the idea with warning signs, which is a feature, is there are legit warning signs of a mass shooter, of a school shooting that take place well in advance of any kind of violence, anybody getting harmed. And so this film, it looks at 3 different potential shooters based on 3 of the most common psychological profiles. And over the course of 2 hours, you see the warning signs from an adjacent character's perspective. So in one case, it's a classmate, and another one, it's a roommate, and another one, it's a best friend and neighbor. So we're seeing from their perspective, the neighbor's perspective, the roommate's perspective, as they start to see these signs, and then they have a choice, like all of us. Like, so, you've been exposed to this information, these signs. Are you going to act on it or not? And they're all, they all have their own priorities, their own goals, their own life, their own interests, and so they have a decision to make, and we'll just say they make different decisions, and there's different outcomes as a result.
I love it. I mean, Emil, I feel like we share, like, I don't know, like that sounds like something that I would totally make. Yeah. Anyway, every time it just surprises me how much in tune we are as far as what we think are important stories and stories we'd like to tell. Um, Real quick, while I still have everyone's attention, the big part about this whole project that I'm doing is also about community, and uh, I don't know how I feel about like programs and those kinds of things. But what I do know is that directing program that we were in together through the AICP um, provided me with a handful, if not 2 handfuls, of the most talented, passionate artists that I like basically know to this day.
Right.
So I wanted to just take an opportunity to just make a platform to spotlight and bring those things back, regardless. Bring back all of your projects and things like that, and share with people, and give you even a little bit bigger audience, or a little bit just an opportunity to talk about it. So with that, um, every time I do one of these, the object is to pick another person to call out, and obviously there is no one that would be more up to bat. Felicia, Felicia,
Hell yeah.
share. We need to show the people the stuff.
Hell yeah.
You're on the clock.
Hell yeah.
I need a response. You're up next. What's up, boo? And
Yeah.
by boo, you know you're my dog. So you're up, Fee. I'll hit you, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Love that. I love Felicia. Felicia's dope as hell.
Awesome. So, pardon thoughts. What else do we need to know about you, Emil? What else? How can we support you? What do you have other projects that people can watch? What's the best way to just help you, be behind you?
Um, yeah, I mean, following on Instagram is great. That's what I try to keep up to date. I have a TV show that my co-writer Saeed Crumpler and I will be pitching soon. So I have that. And then I think I'm gonna go for this Vimeo contest. I'm gonna submit something to that. So yeah, but no, I really like to turn it back on you real quick before we wrap this up. What are you working on? How can we support you? I mean, you're doing this like you, from me ripping Felicia next. Like how can we support you?
Oh man, it would be great. Just spread the word. Like this, like I said, this is like a great passion project. It's just something I had no idea I would be interested in even trying, honestly. I didn't think it would be something that would resonate with me. But now that I've done this a couple of times, it's something I really enjoy. And yeah, besides that, man, just writing. I have I've had a couple of opportunities to pitch a few things to Apple TV recently, and I have another project that I'm trying to fix 2 pitch decks to send to Apple again because I've been very fortunate. Someone's taken a interest in me there. So just grinding, throwing it all at the wall, man, trying to make it stick, and also trying to tell my own stories and not wait for someone to come save me, and work with my teams and create stuff with you guys.
Yeah, I know. I hear that. Like not waiting for someone to come save you. I hear that.
Yeah. So with that, if there are any last second questions, because if not, I am going to sign off before Instagram kicks us off.
Got a shout out.
Thank
What's
you
up, my
so much
brother?
for showing up and showing out, man. I think you are an absolutely and utterly incredible creator. There's absolutely no way that we're not going to hear from you in the future. Obviously, I mean, anyone who goes viral several times a year for many years is bound for great things, man. And I'm excited for a place where you're going to be able to shine and get your due. And I appreciate you coming out tonight, and I appreciate you sharing your time with me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, thank you for having me. Thank you for thinking of me. Thank you for digging up seeds. Yeah, I appreciate you as a person, and I appreciate you for having me on.
Appreciate it. Yeah, yes, sir. And yeah, don't thank me for seeds, man. You know, the second I saw that outdoor scene, man, I was just like, dude, he gets me.
I feel bad. We literally put that little girl in a cage in the heat, but yeah.
Listen, that's part of the battle, man. But thank you again. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Please come back next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. I'm pretty sure I just got an 80% confirmation that Fee is going to be here. I already have a couple ideas of what shorts I want to share of hers because she is an absolute problem
Yeah.
herself in a whole different way, which is really the cool thing is like Emil, like I love your style, and I really believe we're cut from that same like Tupac hardcore in your face kind of film telling story. But I feel like I've been so fortunate and made so many great friends that have been just completely different from Champ to you and everyone in between has just been so completely different. And B brings something completely different to the table that's going to be awesome to talk about. And I just feel really I don't think I realized in the moment, but I didn't realize until recently how blessed I was to be part of that program because the program was great.
Yeah.
But more importantly, just again, just the community it provided me and I refuse to believe that there's another community. Like I think that was God's work or something because you guys are phenomenal to become family and I appreciate each and every one of you and I appreciate everyone that tuned in and have a great night. Come back next week at 8:30,
Yeah.
y'all.
Thank you guys for coming. All right, peace, man. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Good night.